Gothita is like a Jinx level of awful, truly one of the worst Unova Pokemon. We're rating them all and we'll get to why that is, but first, its battle prowess. Its stats aren't bad, it's pretty bulky and has decent special attack, and the competitive ability is amazing for a playthrough with the AI's propensity to just throw tail whips and growls around. And it does get decent enough moves to take advantage of that, but this is another one of those Pokemon that would be really good as an early game encounter, but it's actually more like a mid to late game encounter, where it will obviously be very outclassed until it evolves at level 32. 2.5 stars in battle prowess. As you'll see by the fact that it can't be found until after the 4th gym in Unova and its sequel, and as a version exclusive in both. Then you can't get it until right before the 8th gym in Kalos, which will bring its score down to 2.5 stars. Concept is definitely this whole line's strong suit though, as they're pretty directly based on gothic Lolita fashion, which I just now learned about, but there's also the whole goth girl magic witchcraft idea too. Gothita specifically seems to be much more of an actual baby, with fixation being its whole thing, as babies do that a lot. They do be staring. But the way that they explain it here is that Gothita is staring at something that only it can see, which is nice foreshadowing for its future telling divining evolutions. Pretty cool idea, 4 stars. But design, holy crap, they dropped the ball. The main problem, of course, is that it is directly stated to be an actual baby, yet they gave it a kissy face and that like leaning forward with your hands behind your back flirtatious pose that you see in anime. But even if you can look past that, it's not a good looking design anyway. The black and white patterns clash a bit harshly, and there's just the whole thing that most people don't like superhuman like Pokemon, which you guys seem to agree with as you voted it into the dirt. It's an unappealing design, and it has the stark negative of being gross on top of it. 0 stars. Which does give Gothita the final score of 2.25 stars overall, tying for the worst Unova score so far. Gothita's evolutions are thankfully nowhere near as bad as it is. We're rating them all, and Gothorita is surprisingly decent. Firstly, competitive is an amazing ability for a playthrough, giving you that potential for bulky sweeps with its, again, surprisingly decent stats. 85 special defense and 75 special attack is pretty solid, and 70 in defense gives it more physical bulk than most psychic types. So pair that with good moves like Psybeam, Psyshock, and Psychic by level up, and a lot of really good TMs that I'm not sure when you can get them, but still, it can be awesome. Its main downside, of course, is having to use it until level 41, where it's going to be heavily outclassed, 3.5 stars. But of course, its availability is going to stay the same, as Gothita's pretty bad, 2.5 stars. Its concept also has the same baseline of being a young girl with gothic Lolita fashion, as well as the connection and perception between goth girls and witchcraft. But instead of being a little staring baby, it's a creep. It hypnotizes and carries away sleeping children on starry nights. Meh. That's definitely a downgrade from Gothita, 3.5 stars. But thankfully its design is far better. Now, it's still not great at all. It's far too human-like for my liking, and again, the dark black bodysuit with the white ribbons clash a bit harshly. But my main issue with Gothita was the posing and kissy face on a freaking baby, where Gothorita is still a small child, but now more like a ballerina and less purposefully provocative. Still, definitely not great, but nowhere near as gross. 2 stars. So that will give Gothorita the final score of 2.875 stars overall, and a spot on the bottom 5. Gothitelle is so much better than I ever realized. We're rating them all, and this is just one of those Pokemon that I never wanted to use because of its design, but I mean, look at these stats. 110 special defense, then 95 in defense and special attack. That is very good, especially paired with its competitive ability in a playthrough where grunts love to sling around growls and tail whips. In Gen 5, it gets great moves like Psyshock and Psychic by level up, as well as plenty of TMs for setup, coverage, and support. I don't know if it's quite 5 stars in battle prowess, but it is very close, 4.5 stars. However, its availability starts at the poor 2.5 stars of Gothita for being found mid-game in Unova and end-game in Kalos. Though I think having to drag those little weaklings all the way to level 41 is going to warrant a small penalty down to 2 stars, though inversely, Concept has been this line's shining star. They're all based on gothic Lolita fashion, as well as the trope of goth girls being inclined to witchcraft. Gothitelle, however, takes it a step further, with inspirations from American cryptids, divineers, and even astrology, with its ability to see the future using the stars. 5-star concept. Design, though, I am very confused. I get that final evolutions always get voted higher than the others, but I don't understand how Gothita can be voted into the dirt, Gothorita can be voted as kind of mid, and then Gothitelle's like, yeah, 4 or 5 stars for sure. Yes, thankfully it strays away from the grossness of Gothita, but it barely changes at all from Gothorita. It's just taller with a longer dress and a very weird headdress. I don't dislike Gothitelle's design at all, outside of just not really liking human Pokemon. It's fine, albeit very odd. But I don't see it anywhere near a 4 or a 5. I will bump it up a little bit since I'm lower on it than most, and I'll give it 3 stars. Did you foresee Gothitelle's final score being 3.625 stars? Much better than its pre-evolutions, at least.